Hey everybody. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about why I started this group, what keto is, and what I've learned about it so far, how long I've been doing it, why I chose to do it, and what kind of things that are some challenges for me during keto that I'm having to be careful for that most people won't. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this awesome book. It's amazing, and I'm like, seriously, it's the best book ever. For really talking about what keto is, how to do it, how to still keep carbs in your life, healthy carbs, and how to do it in a whole food way. So I just wanted to briefly touch on that a little bit. So I'll just start with, first thing I wanted to do was talk about what is keto. So keto is short for the ketogenic diet, or a ketogenic way of life, meaning you use fat instead of sugar. Your body likes to use one of the two for a fuel source. And sorry for the noise in the background. We live very close to a road. However, I wanted to do this for you outside because it's pretty outside. Anyhow, your body likes to use either sugar or fat for energy. And when we give it a continuous source of sugar, it does not tap into the fat that we have in our body. It just uses the sugar because it's right there, it's easily accessible, and it's easy to be used. However, when we don't have a huge load of glucose or sugar in our body, then our body switches over to a fat burning state where it will use the fat in our body and the fat that we eat for energy. Most people kind of identify a keto diet with more like an Atkins style thing, and while it does have some similarities to that, it is not an Atkins diet. I tried the Atkins diet back in the early 2000s, and both times I tried it, I ended up with a terrible kidney stone attack, sent me to the ER, sent me to my doctor. So I knew that I could not do that lifestyle. At that time, I didn't realize that I had issues with processing protein in my body. I now know that. Since I've learned some things about my body and how it works for me personally, I've just realized that my body just doesn't process protein very well. So knowing that, that's kind of what I thought the keto diet was, or another way to say it is low carb, high fat. But really, it's a low carb, like no breads, no grains, no pasta, no sugars, and it's a moderate protein. I typically don't have any more than about 8 ounces of protein a day. I might get upwards towards 10, but those aren't from meat sources. Some of those are from like collagen or some things I might put in my smoothies. And then it's high fat. Like I typically have probably somewhere between 65 to 85% of my calories come from fat. I don't track my calories anymore, but when I was using MyFitPal, I could see on the pie chart that's kind of where my macros, which is your carbs, your proteins, and your fat. That's kind of how the pie was shaped. I had a ton of fat, a little bit of protein, and very little carbs. So breaking that carb cycle, that carb addiction, has been super hard for me. I've tried it over and over and over again. When I first started this whole process, I was following a different diet, but it was low carb, low protein, and low fat. So basically I was starving. It did what I wanted to weight-wise because I needed to get off of some things that I had been eating and were part of my lifestyle, but I knew it wasn't something I could sustain. And every time I've ever tried to start a diet, even back in the days when I was tiny and working out all the time, it always had to be something that I could sustain for the rest of my life. It was never like a diet as in, let's do this real quick and lose weight and then I get to go on my merry way. It's always been about trying to do something that I could sustain for my life. there have been times when I've had things that were nothing that I had control over, such as medication, that had caused me to crave carbs more and pretty much give me no energy. Fortunately, I don't have any of those things going on right now, and so I was ready to get back to it. I started in February, lost about 20 pounds in that other plan. However, like I said, I was starving. And by the end of 28 days, all I could think about was eating fat. So I knew that my body was craving some nutrients. So I pretty much stopped that. I didn't follow the little follow through that I was supposed to do, a 3-day kind of getting back into basically a ketogenic diet. I just went straight to keto and just went all out, full fat, which I probably wouldn't recommend. I'd probably recommend easing into that just because your body's not used to digesting that much fat right away. So I chose this way of life because, one, I knew I didn't process proteins very well, so I could not do a high protein diet. The second thing was I was, for the second time, diagnosed with diabetes in December. We lived on the mission field, came home, life was kind of crazy, was not eating right, was not taking care of myself, and I knew that I was going to have to make a change. I had some surgeries last year, 2 kidney stone surgeries, some other surgeries, and I knew at the beginning of this year I was going to have to get something figured out, or it was just going to keep going into that downward turn. So I decided to research, what can I eat? I have diabetes and I deal with kidney stones. I have high cholesterol. I have controlled blood pressure with medication. So when I went back to my doctor, she drew blood work and everything. I asked her, like, what do I do? I can't have these certain things because I typically make oxalate kidney stones, which prohibits me from eating things like spinach and beans and not a lot of tomatoes, nuts. So some of those healthy things like strawberries and blueberries and raspberries, can't have those. And then on the other hand, I have diabetes, or I had diabetes, and I couldn't eat the things that were in opposition to the list for my kidney stones. So I was like, what do I do? And she basically just stared at me and was dumbfounded, like, I don't know how to help you, and our particular healthcare situation does not have a good nutritionist to help you with that. So that's when I said, you know what, no one's going to take care of me like I'm going to take care of me besides God. So I came home very frustrated, very down, and decided I was going to research. And so this is what I landed on. I was scared because all of our life we've heard fat is bad for you and grains are good for you. So it was completely counterculture. So I did what I typically do, is I just dove in. I kind of get obsessive about whatever it is I'm working on or learning about. I love to learn new things, and so I just dove in. I started reading as many books as I could. I'm typically on the go a lot, so I do a lot of Audible type books. I started listening to podcasts, and I found these 3 people, and I have them listed. I have the podcast listed that I used, or that I still use and listen to, and also the list of books that I've read in the past few years that have really helped me kind of understand how our bodies work. We're not a simple computer. It's a very complex machine that God gave us, and lots of things are happening at one time, and there's lots of things happening with ourselves. And as I dig deeper into it, I get more and more interested, and hopefully I'll be able to communicate some of those things that I'm learning. Hopefully I'll be able to clarify some things that are a little bit confusing, or maybe you don't know right off the bat. So anyhow, that's what the ketogenic diet is, and that's why I started this way of eating. So in the past, I have done South Beach, I have tried Atkins, like I said, I've done Weight Watchers, I've done Jenny Craig, I've done all of that. And typically what I would do is get to the toe of the line to where I was doing the diet just like as close as I could to what they said while still being able to do cheats and things like that. I still remember not being able to go over a certain amount of fat, and so I'd eat a bag of jelly beans. Yeah, that was not good. So that was my Jenny Craig days. So I've been practicing this healthy, trying to be healthy for a long, long time, because that was when we were first married. And that was 22 years ago. So lots of practice at trying to get my body healthy without a lot of knowledge. It's basically people telling me what to do and not me researching a whole lot. So I have, since the beginning of the year, lost about 36 pounds. But and I know this sounds cliche because people say it all the time, like, that is not what I've gained from this. It's totally not. Yes, I am super happy that I'm on my way. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm on my way to having a healthy body. But the biggest deal for me is I do not have bloating. Like, my belly is not all swollen up anymore. It's crazy. Now, I had 3 babies kind of belly, but it's not all swollen up. I know this probably sounds gross, but I don't have gas anymore. Like, it's crazy how much grains and wheat and all those kind of carbs just turn up in our system. I don't have diabetes anymore. My A1C went from 7 to 5.9, and I imagine at this point it's probably even lower, because that was like right in the brink of where I was in the heart of losing a lot and watching my blood sugars come down. So my cholesterol, my triglycerides came down almost 100 points. I can't remember the exact numbers. I can probably go back and look that up. But I mean, I was just amazed at how much change my body had. So, and that was just in a short amount of time. So anyway, so that sold me. Like, not only am I losing weight, but my insides are changing. I'm getting healthy on the inside, and my mental clarity has been insane. Like, I have so much mental energy, and I know that sounds crazy, but as a mom, like, I do a lot of things. I work part-time, I'm homeschooling, I'm teaching classes, I'm trying to keep our family together, like moms do. And so I was just mentally done by about 3 o'clock. Well, I'm out here posting a video at 3 o'clock. And it's my day off. I don't even care because this is so fun. Like, I love learning about our bodies and how God created them to thrive and to feel good. So that's why I'm making this video, and that's why I've started this group, because I want you to know that there's hope. Like, I felt so hopeless so many times because nobody has an answer. My kidney stones, I have not had any issues with them. I do pass them all the time. I'm what they call a stoner, a chronic stoner, so I make stones all the time. But I've learned some things that I can eat. I've learned some things not to eat. I drink some things that are helpful. I stay very hydrated, and I've really not had any issues. I feel them passing, which is huge, because typically they would get stuck in the ureters and it'd be very painful and send me to the emergency room. So that is a huge deal. So this has been an amazing journey for me, and I feel like I'm just in the beginning. I'm just learning and just really learning to absorb all this information. One of the things too I was going to tell you is that I used to run. I have run 3 half marathons, and it was pretty miserable. It was kind of fun because you felt accomplished. And I used to exercise, like hardcore exercise, and I have an obsessive kind of personality, so I went hardcore in the exercise, and I do feel like it really helped me burn some of that excess carbs that I was having. So I could eat some things that I don't eat now, but I don't even crave those things anymore. So I guess the trade-off is good. But all that to say, I work out and do like 3 days of weights, and it's not super hardcore. It's just building muscle mass, and I walk the other days, at most 3 miles, and it's enjoyable. I listen to podcasts, I listen to books, I listen to the birds chirp, I walk with my kids. It's amazing. So it's not all this hard, I don't know, all this hard output. It's actually a relaxing and enjoyable thing. Like, mentally, it does me good to get out and walk and get some sunshine and just move my body. And so that's one thing that I have loved about this. talked about the kidney stones, and the last thing I want to talk about in this one, I'll try to post some more, is this book. And like, I really only talk about stuff that I love, and my friends who are on this group will tell you that I am not a salesperson. Like, I'm just not. I typically I just tell people, you have to do you and I'll do me and that kind of thing. But when I find something I love, I pretty much can't shut up about it. And that's how I feel about Leine's book. Typically I will buy books on Kindle or Audible. Those are my two sources. I have tried really hard since coming back from the mission field not to clutter up our house, although it's not easy to do with 5 people living in it. But this is one book that I'm so glad you can see. I have bookmarked it. Yes, I'm a nerd. I love to learn. And I wanted to be able to access the different things in here that she has. It is such a pretty book visually, like just all the charts she has, and just, I mean, it's phenomenal. She's got some recipes in here. She explains exactly how to do the keto diet. She's got different profiles, meaning she's got different ways to do keto for different people. And in this way, I feel like keto can work for anybody, so that you don't have to give up all the carbs. Now, she's whole food. She used to be kind of a paleo girl, but she found that keto was something that she really loved and worked for her body. And so she figured it out, how she could incorporate paleo with the keto diet. And I'm telling you, because I love that I get to eat this way. I ate bacon. I had yesterday for Mother's Day, my sweet, sweet husband grilled steak, and he made me some broccoli, and I call it my loaded broccoli, kind of like a loaded baked potato. It's broccoli steamed, and then a good amount of butter, some cheese, some bacon, and sour cream. It was divine, and I was so full. And then he was so sweet, and he made me, for the very first time, I'm going to post a picture of this in a little bit. For the very first time, he tried making me a keto cheesecake. It was so good. It was so good. It was so good. So, and there's no way all that's going to be eaten today. So we're going to divide it up and freeze it, and those will be good little treats. I try to eat to fullness, and you know, that's one of the things I really like about keto is you learn what your body feels like when it's full, not just when it's carb loaded, but when it's full, and then you don't really want to eat. Like, I'm so full, and I ate 2 hours ago, and I'm still. And typically I would only feel that way if I ate pizza and bread and felt all bloated up, but I'm not bloated. Like, we went on a walk and about to go to the nature trail now, and so it's just an amazing thing, and it's worth trying. And I will do another video about what the first few weeks will look like and feel like. They're not always that beautiful because your body's getting rid of some yucky stuff, so, but I'll save that for another video. Thanks for watching, and I hope this answers some questions, and if you have more questions, I'd love to talk to you a little bit more about it. So if you want to invite your friends, if you know somebody that's struggling with trying to figure out what will work for them, I'd love to help them and do what we can to, or do what I can to point them in the right direction. So y'all have a great day.